I found this clip by Turning Point USA of Candace Owens debating a college feminist. And now I haven't watched the video, but I want to react to it because I want to see what this college feminist has to say and what Candace Owens replies to her. Because you guys already know how I feel about feminism. I feel like feminism, at least third wave, first wave, second wave feminism, I think we're okay. They were good for the equality of women. They were good for the progress of women to become equals in this country, right? But third wave feminism is nothing but a toxic landscape of bitter women. Third wave feminism has been telling women to reject their femininity and become more masculine, become more like men, that they are independent and don't need no man, but at the same time want to use that man for his resources. Because I know plenty of you, if you watch my content, you've seen content like this online of women saying that the man needs to make 6 figures. I've even had shorts where this obese tank of a woman who clearly doesn't give a fuck about her body, because if you cared about your body, you wouldn't look that way. But she was demanding a man that makes $500,000 or more per year to be her suitor. That if he made any less than $500,000 a year, they would not work. She would not give him the light of day. Meanwhile, she looked like a whale that just washed on the shore. And when they asked her what kind of ring would she want and how much would it have to cost, she said at least $500,000.
How much should a guy earn for you to date him? Over 500k, close to $1 million. If he doesn't, I'm not gonna say yes. Do you hear me? How much should the guy pay for the engagement ring? He needs to pay again. 500. He gets paid every year. 500. He saves up towards the ring. If he doesn't, he's gonna get a no, and it's gonna be embarrassing.
This is what the current wave of feminism has done to women. Feminism has destroyed the expectations of women from men. Not to say that the current red pill, red wave, you guys know I feel like those guys are fucking corny too. Not to say that hasn't done a lot of damage to men as well, but the red pill movement has been a reaction to the feminist movement. Because time and time again, over and over years, we've been telling men that they're horrible, that they're terrible, that women don't need them. And women abuse men. Not necessarily physically or emotionally abuse them, but use them for their money. There's been a lot of grifters that have made a movement online preaching shit about the red pill. Meanwhile, some of those motherfuckers don't even live the lifestyle that they preach about. A lot of them say that they're looking for submissive women. They're looking for the right woman. They're looking for the potential woman to marry. And that's what they try to preach men to. They get these women on these podcasts, tell them that they need to be women worthy of marry, but at the same time, go tell the man that they should just be sleeping around with other women. There's this one red pill bozo, and I don't call him a guru. He's like one of the self-proclaimed gurus, claims that a woman after 30 has hit her wall and that women with kids is no good, but at the same time married a 41-year-old single mother. So what does that tell you about where his actual morals and principles lie?
Any man who marries a woman past the age of 23 years old, you're getting leftovers. But yeah, David, listen, man, I'm not trying to be mean-spirited, but you married a single mom. Like,
post-wall women, they get married all the time, but the men they get married to are very low value. They're beta males. They're pushovers. They're not real men. They're not the men that arouse these women.
There is no, what do they call it? An officiant? Pastor does. Yeah, I'm the officiant. Okay? Oh. I'm the officiant and I run this. So we're going to exchange vows. She's got a few words for me. I've got some words for her. And then I will, by the power vested in me.
But let's get back to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is feminism and how feminism has warped these women's minds. And a lot of them are coming to the realization now that they're older, they're childless, they've worked for the career, but they did all that for what? To share it with who? And they'll pretend they're happy. They'll pretend that everything's good, but deep down inside, they're sad. And that's the reality of what feminism has done to these women in the modern age. But let's get to the video.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. So I noticed you had a lot of thoughts on feminism. I'm a feminist, but
Totally fine.
I was just wondering, how do you differentiate between the extremism that exists in feminism as it does across, you know, multiple different ideologies, but how do you differentiate between the extremism and how, feminists like me think. I don't hate men.
It's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it.
Yeah, see, that's the problem that we talk about when we talk about the third wave feminism. The problem is that third wave feminism is not about women's equality, because women already have all the same rights that men have in this country. And again, they're always going to go back to, well, reproductive rights, we don't have the right to have an abortion. No, we're just talking about rights in general. Women have the same rights as men do in this country. And sometimes the laws favor women more than they favor men. But the movement is not about equality anymore. The movement is about hating men and the destruction of the patriarchy that actually grants all these women all the privileges that they claim they don't have.
It's a great, great question. So what you have to realize about the left when you talk about extremism is they hack words that once had real meaning, and they take them for their own nefarious goals, right? So they'll say racism, and you'll go, oh my God, no, really, racism used to exist, but now it means organizing your pantry. That's obviously not racism. That's completely ridiculous. You see something like feminism.
Yeah, like there's a lot of leftists online that would say, I've seen videos of this. They would claim that being on time is racism. The concept of time is racism. Acting professionally is racism. It's like, that's white supremacy, because it's founded principles that I guess white people made up, as if Asian people don't have etiquette to be on time, or any other group for that matter. White people invented being on time, I guess, and being professional. So that means it's white supremacy, therefore racism. And these people are so like white centric, like they're so racist that they think, and it's usually the white people, the white lefties, the woke liberals, they think that they're so important without even realizing it, that they think that no one but them could have created such a concept or could have that concept. How did the Asians come about having the same concepts? White Americans never colonized or conquered. Well, they did colonize India, for example, but places like China, or places like Japan, or places like Korea, how come those places have those concepts? Same concepts, and oftentimes they tend to be more rigid and more strict, the Western European countries, when it comes to stuff like that. How come they have the same concepts, yet they were never conquered by white people? Is it because maybe it's not white supremacists and it's just being a decent fucking human being and respecting other people's times enough to be on time? Maybe it's that. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe it's about respecting other people in general and realizing that you don't need to be a dick. You don't need to be disrespectful to somebody who's not doing anything to you. And that being on time looks good on you and doesn't waste the other person's time. Maybe that's what it is.
And once upon a time, women were fighting for the right to vote. Well, now we have that. We have equal footing. And now they're using those terms. They're hiding behind the shield of feminism, and they're doing actually horrible things in society. And I blame feminists for almost every ill that we have right now, because they've encouraged people not to act as a woman, and they bash men all the time. And I think that they have contributed the most to the breakdown of family in terms of an ideology. Now, for you,
answer my question.
No, I'm getting there. Okay. Now, for you, you're like, okay, but I actually am somebody that just believes in equality, that there should be equality between the sexes, right?
I think it's more culturally and socially, not necessarily in the realm of legality.
Sure. So I'm going to ask you, what is it socially? So you could call yourself something, right? That means that there's some fight that you have. What is it socially that you and I have as women that we don't have that men do? Why is there a need for you to be a feminist?
I think as women,
Watch, she's going to say reproductive rights.
Undervalued when it comes to our intelligence. I think people, especially for me, as a woman who,
Go ahead, let her talk.
For me, as a woman, I feel like a lot of people look at me and think I'm superficial. They think I'm vapid. They don't necessarily see that I could be intelligent, that I could speak for myself. They tend to automatically.
The problem is that a lot of the modern women are vapid. They just want material things, especially from men. Now, are there a lot of intelligent women? Yes. There are also a lot of intelligent men. But a lot of women, time and time again, especially, it's always the loudest ones, right? The ones that get online and have their opinions. That's what makes women look bad, because there are a ton of women out there, I'm sure, but they're not online. They're not advertising how they want that Louis Vuitton bag, or they want to be taken out on $100 dates. I saw a video yesterday of these women talking about going out to eat and a man proposing to send them money so they can go out to eat. and one of the ladies said that the man sent her $30 and she couldn't believe that. She was going out to lunch by herself, going out to eat, and couldn't fathom that he sent her $30. She was ungrateful of the fact that he sent her $30. And she was saying, well, that doesn't even cover the entree. Where the fuck are you going to eat? That $30 doesn't cover the entree. Her bare minimum for her to validate that man was at least $100. Where are you going by yourself and spending $100 out to eat? And even if he sent you $30, that's $30 less that you have to come out of pocket for. So be grateful that maybe he sent you the tip money. And this is from a man she wasn't dating. And she claimed she wouldn't date that man. She didn't even know him. She was just getting to know him. And she expected at least $100 to validate this man as a man. And that is the current state of affairs of modern women. That is because of modern feminism.
Guys, don't be rude. Go ahead.
I tend to get belittled a lot, and that comes from men, not necessarily women, right?
So
that's bullshit. Because women, the biggest haters of women on this planet are other women. Women will treat other women really nice to their face and talk shit behind their back. Women are literally women's biggest enemies. So that's bullshit.
In your personal capacity, men are belittling you, right? But when you talk about affecting actually a social change, this might be your personal experience, but does that mean that all women are going through this, or that all women are experiencing this belittlement by men?
And see, I understand that, but I think also when I listen to you speak, and you speak on why you don't like feminism, I hear a lot of anecdotal work, and I hear a lot of personal experience, like your experience in that one class that you had, whereas I've had 5-6 classes in my gender studies courses, and I've never experienced.
Of course she's taking gender studies. Why is she taking gender studies? Of course.
You know what I mean?
They're just laughing
don't feel like it's fair to take personal
it's totally fine. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm actually talking about the real world consequences of the dangerous ideology telling women that they have to take their clothes off, that they should be on TikTok. I'm talking about real world consequences.
Yeah,
I'm talking about literally the fact that women are no longer, like, they're by and large all climbing the corporate ladder, and that children are being ceded over to the state. So I was giving you an anecdotal example of what happened in my feminist class, but the repercussions of that are seen everywhere. What I am saying is that what I'm offering to you is not to feel like you have to give yourself an ism, right? Don't feel like you have to put yourself in a box. Don't feel like you have to put yourself into some weird social constructs. I think that what you'll find with time is that it constrains you unnecessarily. I don't have a problem with the fact if you want to identify as a feminist and you think that there is some fight that needs to be ended. I don't personally think that
that's... Is conservatism not a box any more than feminism is?
Well, saying that I have conservative principles, feminism is not being a conservative or being a liberal, right? You're talking about an ideology, right? A system you think
I would assume conservatism is also an ideology as well, is it not?
Sure. Conservatism is an ideology. These are the things that we believe. You could say that everything is an ideology. What I'm saying to you is that I would not necessarily paint yourself into a corner. You don't seem to me like you have any issues speaking up. You don't seem to me like you feel like you're constrained in any way. You're standing up here today. I would offer to you that there's never been a more remarkable time to be a woman in this society. By every statistic, we are doing better than men. That's a fact.
And that's the point that I've made in my previous videos when it comes to women and the feminists who claim that women are oppressed in this country. It is simply not true. It is simply not true. Women are doing better than men. They're graduating colleges at higher rates than men now. They're landing higher paying jobs. They're the freest they've ever been in any society at any point in time ever in the Western world. Yet they will claim to you that they're oppressed, and somehow you need to be a feminist because you need to fight the fight that doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist. And I like the point that Candace made about not putting yourself into a box. I consider myself a libertarian. I don't consider myself a conservative. I don't consider myself a liberal. I have certain things that I believe in, and it's a mix of a bunch of things. There's some things that I agree with, not on the left, but, you know, on the more liberal side, right? Because the liberals used to be about free speech. They're no longer about the free speech. It used to be the conservatives that were against free speech and censoring shit they didn't like. Now it's flipped on its head, and it's the conservatives who are like free speech, and the liberals are saying, no, 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 no. No free speech. We got to censor people who are saying things we don't like. There are things that I don't agree with on the right side. Like, for example, the Alabama law that they passed considering an embryo a human life. And it's like, the conservatives are hypocrites in the sense that they say that life begins at conception, but an embryo is not, or an egg or whatever it is not conceived yet. So how do you consider that a life? And then you say that if the process of inseminating that embryo or whatever it is fails, you took a life, therefore you should go to jail. That's stupid. I also don't agree with abortion up to any point in the pregnancy. At some point, we got to cut that shit off. You can't say 9 months, or like the guy that was running for governor in Virginia said even post-birth abortion. What is that? That's not abortion anymore. If you had a kid, you can't decide to abort it after it was born. And if that's the case, where do we cut it off? Where do we cut it off? At what age? Because you say a kid that's just born can't survive on its own. True. But it's born already. And a 2-year-old also can't survive on its own. A 4-year-old can't survive on its own. 5 years old. At what age is it deemed appropriate to say, okay, now this kid can survive on its own, we don't need to kill it? Can you decide that you're going to kill your 8-year-old and call it an abortion because an 8-year-old cannot survive on its own? You see how stupid that sounds? But there are people that are legitimately on the left that will argue that point. Post-birth abortion is straight up murder. That's what it is. That's not an abortion. So I agree with Candace on not limiting yourself to a box. You're going to have different values based on your lived experiences and things that you believe in. You don't have to agree with one side completely on everything. Be your own person and think about your own things.
Right? Men have a higher, we are graduating at a higher rate than men. Men have higher suicide rates. That's why I said to you, despite how you're feeling, what are the real world implications that suggest to you that you are somehow beneath men? You might have a personal experience where
I mean,
a man...
we can talk about sexual assault everywhere, in the military, in the home.
So are
that
these
doesn't
things
make you
that you're fighting
beneath
to end sexual
men.
assault?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, great. You don't have to be a feminist to fight to end sexual assault.
You don't have to be,
Men
but
and women.
Both men and women get sexually assaulted
I mean, I
by
agree.
both men and women.
It's a great cause.
Granted,
Men and
granted,
women go through that. I just said to
it happens to women more than it does to men, right? But it happens to both. And both men and women do it. Like when teachers sexually assault their students who cannot consent. Happens all the time.
And one of the biggest things that I give to every year is for human sex trafficking. It doesn't require to be a feminist. Now, you seem really committed to it. I've said to you since the very beginning, if you want to be a feminist girl, put it on a t-shirt, wear it, put a hashtag. I'm just telling you, don't unnecessarily put yourself into a corner, and to recognize that it has never been a greater time. I would offer it is a way better time in this society to be a woman.
Candace absolutely ate in that clip. She was 100% correct. There's no other way to put it. There's just no other way to put it. Because there is no better time to be a woman in society, in at least Western society, than right now. Women have it so good, yet they will claim to you they're more oppressed than they were even 50 years ago. And they're fighting not for equality that they already have. They're fighting to destroy men. That's what the third wave feminism movement is all about. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Follow me on social media and join the Discord. Links in the description down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.